Officer Ryan was driving his police car through the quiet streets of his town. The sun was setting and the sky was painted with soft shades of orange and pink. The streets were mostly empty and the town felt calm. Ryan enjoyed these quiet moments, but he always stayed alert. He had been a police officer for many years, and he had learned that trouble could appear anywhere, even in peaceful places. As Ryan turned a corner, he noticed a small group of people standing near an old warehouse. They seemed worried and were pointing at something on the ground. Curious, Ryan stopped the car and walked over. When he got closer, he heard faint whimpering. The sound was soft, but it made Ryan stop in his tracks. It was a sound of fear and sadness. Carefully, Ryan followed the sound to a pile of trash near the back of the warehouse. There, among broken boxes, old bottles, and torn papers, he saw a small German Shepherd puppy. The puppy was trapped in a broken cage. His fur was dirty and his eyes were wide with fear. He was trembling and trying to get out, but the cage had sharp edges and he could not free himself. Ryan's heart sank. He knelt down slowly so as not to scare the puppy. "Hey there, little one," he said gently. "It's okay. You're safe now." The puppy tilted his head but did not move. Ryan reached carefully into the cage and lifted him. The puppy tried to wriggle, but Ryan held him close, feeling his small shaking body against his chest. The puppy's eyes were full of pain and confusion. Ryan could see he had been through a lot. It was clear that someone had abandoned him here. Ryan felt a mix of sadness and determination. He knew he could not leave the puppy to suffer. He carried him to his car, keeping him warm with a blanket he found in the back seat. At the station, Ryan gave the puppy a bowl of water and some food. The puppy hesitated at first, looking around nervously. Then slowly he began to eat. Ryan watched him closely. He noticed the puppy was smart and alert, even though he was small and weak. After the food, Ryan gently washed him, removing the dirt and grime. The puppy relaxed a little under his care and Ryan smiled. Ryan knew the puppy needed a name. He thought for a moment and then he said, "I'll call you Max." The puppy wagged his tiny tail as if he understood. Max looked at Ryan with eyes that seemed to say thank you. Ryan felt a warmth in his heart. He had rescued many animals before, but something about Max was different. There was a spark in him, a spirit that wanted to live and be loved. For the next few days, Ryan stayed close to Max. He made a small bed for him in his office and kept him near while he worked. Max followed Ryan everywhere, learning his routines and slowly gaining trust. He would curl up near Ryan's feet during meetings and look up at him with big, trusting eyes. Ryan began to think about Max's future. He knew that he could not keep him forever at the station. Max needed more than food and shelter. He needed a purpose, a chance to live a full life. Ryan had an idea, but he wanted to make sure Max was ready. He wanted to give him a life that would make him happy and proud. That evening, Ryan sat on the floor with Max in his lap. He stroked his fur gently. Max rested his head on Ryan's knee and let out a soft sigh. In that moment, Ryan made a promise. He would take care of Max no matter what. He would give him the life he deserved. He knew this little puppy had the potential to grow into something amazing. As the sun set outside the station window, Ryan looked down at Max. The world was quiet, but their journey together was just beginning. Max had been rescued from the trash, but now he had hope, love, and a chance to shine. And Ryan knew that in saving Max, he had found a friend who would change his life forever. Over the next few weeks, Ryan and Max grew closer every day. Max followed Ryan everywhere, from the station to the park, and even during Ryan's daily patrols around the town. The small puppy was learning quickly, observing Ryan's every move. His playful energy and curious eyes made Ryan smile, even after long, tiring days. Ryan noticed that Max had a special way of understanding things. When Ryan spoke, Max seemed to listen carefully, tilting his head as if he was trying to understand every word. Max learned simple commands like sit, stay, and come faster than Ryan had expected. Sometimes Max would even anticipate Ryan's actions. If Ryan reached for his keys, Max would wag his tail excitedly, ready for a walk or a ride in the car. At night, Max slept in a small bed at the foot of Ryan's own bed. Ryan often stayed up late, completing reports or reviewing files. Max would rest quietly, keeping a protective watch over him. Sometimes Ryan would hear a soft whimper and see Max staring at the door, alert and ready to defend if needed. It amazed Ryan how brave and loyal this little puppy had become in such a short time. One afternoon, Ryan took Max to the local park. The park was full of children playing and other dogs running freely. Max hesitated at first, looking around nervously, but when Ryan knelt down and encouraged him, Max took his first steps onto the grass. Soon he was running with joy, chasing leaves and playing with other dogs. Ryan laughed as he watched Max's excitement. It was the first time he had seen Max truly happy, free from fear and hunger. Ryan began thinking about Max's future. He remembered reading about police canine units and how dogs with intelligence and courage could become special partners in law enforcement. Max had the qualities of a great canine: alertness, courage, and loyalty. Ryan wondered if Max could be trained to help protect the town, assist in finding lost people, and even help solve small crimes. The thought of training Max brought Ryan hope and excitement. But he also knew it would be hard work. Training a canine was not easy, and Max was still young. Ryan decided to start slowly, focusing on building Max's confidence and teaching him obedience. He wanted Max to trust him completely, and he wanted Max to enjoy every step of the journey. Over the next days, Ryan set aside time each morning for training sessions. He used small treats and gentle praise to encourage Max. At first, Max made mistakes, running in the wrong direction or forgetting commands. But Ryan was patient. He repeated the exercises and celebrated every small success. Max seemed to enjoy the training, especially when he saw Ryan's proud smile. Their bond deepened with every session. Max began to follow Ryan even outside the training area, watching him carefully and mimicking his movements. When Ryan picked up his jacket, Max would stand alert, ready for a walk or patrol. When Ryan went to check the neighborhood, Max would trot by his side, staying close and watching carefully. It was clear that Max trusted Ryan completely, and Ryan trusted Max just as much. One evening, Ryan and Max sat on the porch outside Ryan's house. The sun was setting and the sky was a deep shade of orange. Max rested his head on Ryan's lap, his eyes soft and calm. Ryan stroked Max's fur and whispered, "You're more than a dog, Max. You're my friend. And one day I think you're going to do amazing things." Max looked up at Ryan, his tail wagging slowly. It was as if he understood every word. In that quiet moment, Ryan felt a deep connection with Max. He realized that rescuing this small puppy had changed his life too. Max was not just a companion. He was a partner, a brave soul who had found his way from fear to trust and love. Ryan knew that their journey together was just beginning. Max had found a home, a purpose, and a friend in Ryan, and Ryan had found loyalty, courage, and joy in Max. Together, they were ready for the next chapter, a life full of adventure, challenges, and the unbreakable bond between a man and his dog. After weeks of bonding, Ryan knew Max was ready for a bigger challenge. He decided it was time to begin serious training. The town's police canine unit had a program for dogs who were brave, smart, and loyal. Ryan believed Max had all three qualities. He called the canine unit and explained Max's story. The officers were curious and agreed to let Max join the training program. The first day of training was early in the morning. Ryan and Max arrived at the training field. The sun was rising, and the air was fresh with the smell of grass. Other dogs and their officers were already there, practicing commands and running through obstacle courses. Max looked around with excitement, his tail wagging quickly. He seemed to understand that something important was about to happen. Ryan started with basic obedience. He reminded Max to sit, stay, and come when called. At first, Max was eager but a little distracted. The sounds of other dogs barking and the movement of people made him curious. Ryan stayed patient, praising Max for every correct action. "Good boy, Max," he said softly. Max's ears perked up every time he heard Ryan's voice. He wanted to please him. Next, Ryan introduced Max to more advanced tasks. They practiced walking through crowded areas, ignoring distractions, and focusing only on Ryan's commands. Max sometimes tried to chase a squirrel or sniff a tree, but Ryan guided him gently back. With each session, Max learned faster and showed remarkable focus. Ryan could see a natural talent in him. One of the hardest exercises was tracking. Ryan hid small objects around the training field and asked Max to find them. Max hesitated at first, unsure what to do, but soon his nose twitched and he began sniffing carefully. Within minutes, Max found the hidden items one by one. The trainers watched in surprise. "He's very smart," one officer said. Ryan smiled proudly. Max was proving that he could do much more than anyone expected. Ryan also introduced Max to scenarios that required calmness. They practiced approaching strangers, loud noises, and unusual situations. At first, Max barked at every sudden sound. Ryan gently reassured him and repeated the exercises. Slowly, Max learned to stay calm and trust Ryan's guidance. Ryan noticed that Max's courage grew with every lesson. He was no longer the frightened puppy Ryan had rescued. He was becoming a confident and brave dog. The bond between Ryan and Max grew stronger during training. They communicated with small gestures, glances, and soft words. Max seemed to understand when Ryan wanted him to focus and when it was okay to relax. Ryan felt proud of how quickly Max was learning and how loyal he had become. Max followed Ryan's every instruction, and in return, Ryan always praised and cared for him. After several weeks, Max began to show real promise. The trainers were impressed by his intelligence, energy, and willingness to work. Ryan could see a spark in Max's eyes, a spark that said he was ready for real missions. Max had grown from a scared, abandoned puppy into a dog with purpose and determination. At the end of each training day, Ryan and Max would sit together, tired but happy. Ryan would brush Max's fur and give him treats. Max would rest his head on Ryan's lap, trusting him completely. Ryan often thought about the day he first found Max in the trash. It was hard to believe how far they had come together. The journey had been long, but every moment had been worth it. Ryan knew there was still much to teach Max, but he was confident. Max had the heart, mind, and courage to be a great police dog. Together they would face challenges, help people, and make a difference in their town. And through it all, their bond would grow even stronger. Max was not just a dog. He was Ryan's partner, and Ryan was determined to guide him to become the hero he was meant to be. After months of training, Ryan knew that Max was ready for his first real mission. The town had been mostly peaceful, but there were always small incidents that needed the attention of the police K-9 unit. Ryan received a call one morning about a local store that had reported a burglary. The suspect had fled into the nearby woods and the store owner was worried. Ryan put on his uniform, grabbed his radio, and called Max. The dog's ears perked up, and his tail wagged excitedly. He seemed to understand that today was different. As they drove to the scene, Ryan spoke softly to Max. "Today we show them what you can do, boy. Stay focused and stay with me." Max responded with a small bark, as if he agreed. When they arrived at the store, Ryan saw the broken lock and scattered merchandise. The suspect had clearly left in a hurry, but Ryan noticed small footprints leading toward the woods. He crouched down, letting Max sniff the ground. Max lowered his nose and began tracking the scent immediately. His movements were careful, yet confident. Ryan could feel his heart racing with excitement and pride. The path led them through tall grass and thick trees. Max moved quickly but silently, following the trail with precision. Ryan followed closely, trusting his companion completely. After a few minutes, Max stopped and looked back at Ryan. His tail wagged slightly and his ears were alert. Ryan knew Max had found something. He quietly whispered, "Good job, Max. Let's see what you found." Max moved a few steps forward and barked softly. Ahead, they could see a figure crouching behind a bush. The suspect looked startled and tried to run, but Max was faster. He circled around, blocking the path. Ryan arrived just in time to prevent the person from escaping. The suspect raised his hands and looked at the pair with surprise. Ryan handcuffed the suspect and called for backup. Max sat beside him, calm and alert. His ears twitched, ready to respond to any sudden movement. The suspect was taken to the police station, and Ryan praised Max. "You did amazing, boy," he said, patting Max's head. Max barked happily, clearly proud of his accomplishment. When they returned to the station, news of Max's success spread quickly. The local news even called Ryan to interview him about the rescue and the capture. Ryan told the reporters about how he had found Max as a small puppy abandoned in the trash. He explained how Max had grown into a smart, brave, and loyal canine. The community was amazed by the story, and Max became a local hero. After the excitement settled, Ryan took Max to the park to relax. Max ran freely on the grass, chasing leaves and enjoying the sunlight. Ryan watched him and felt a deep sense of pride. He remembered the frightened little puppy he had found weeks ago and could hardly believe the transformation. Max was not just a dog anymore. He was a partner, a protector, and a hero in his own right. That evening, Ryan and Max returned home. Max slept peacefully at the foot of Ryan's bed, exhausted from his first mission. Ryan thought about the events of the day and smiled. He knew that this was only the beginning. Max had proven his skills, and together, they could face any challenge. Ryan reflected on the bond they had formed. Max trusted him completely, and he trusted Max in return. They were more than a police officer and a dog. They were a team, ready to protect their town and help people in need. Max's courage, intelligence, and loyalty had already made a difference, and Ryan knew that many more missions awaited them. As the night grew quiet, Ryan stroked Max's fur and whispered, "You're a hero, Max, and I'm proud to have you by my side." Max closed his eyes, resting after a long day of hard work. Ryan knew that together, they were ready for any adventure, any challenge, and any mission that lay ahead. Years passed, and Ryan and Max continued to work together as a team. The small German shepherd that had once been abandoned in the trash had grown into a strong, smart, and brave police dog. Max had learned to stay calm in stressful situations, follow complex commands, and even comfort people who were scared or upset. Ryan could not have asked for a better partner. Their days began early, often before the sun had risen. Ryan and Max would patrol the town, checking streets, parks, and neighborhoods. People would wave or stop them to say hello. Max was friendly with everyone, wagging his tail and sometimes letting children pet him while Ryan answered questions or spoke with local residents. Max had a gentle side that balanced his alertness and courage. During their patrols, Max helped Ryan find lost children, track missing pets, and assist in situations that required careful observation. One day, a young boy had wandered off into the woods near the edge of town. Ryan and Max followed his scent trail. Max led the way with confidence, sniffing the ground and pausing occasionally to check for clues. Within a short time, they found the boy sitting on a log, scared but unharmed. Max approached gently, nuzzling him, and the boy laughed as he reached out to pet the brave dog. Over the years, Max became well known in the town. Local news outlets often featured stories about the K9 unit, highlighting Max's accomplishments. Ryan watched with pride as people recognized Max on the streets, calling him a hero. But for Ryan, the most important thing was the bond he shared with Max. It had grown stronger with every mission, every training session, and every quiet moment together. Even with years of service, Ryan noticed that Max never lost his energy or enthusiasm. Every morning he would wake up, ready for the day, wagging his tail and jumping excitedly whenever Ryan called him. Max had a way of bringing joy to everyone around him, even during difficult situations. Ryan admired Max's spirit. He often thought about how far Max had come, from a scared, abandoned puppy to a trusted and respected police dog. Ryan also made sure to take care of Max outside of work. They spent weekends at the park, playing fetch, running together, and enjoying long walks. Ryan knew that Max needed more than work. He needed time to relax and be a dog. Max loved these moments, running freely and exploring new scents while Ryan watched with a smile. One day, Ryan was invited to speak at a local school about police work and the role of K9 units. He brought Max with him. Children crowded around the dog, amazed by his intelligence and obedience. Ryan shared the story of how he had rescued Max from the trash years ago. The children listened carefully, inspired by the story of courage, trust, and friendship. Max sat quietly beside Ryan, his ears twitching as he listened, proud to be recognized for his work and his journey. Over the years, Ryan and Max faced many challenges, but they always faced them together. Max's loyalty never wavered, and Ryan's care for Max never faltered. The pair became a symbol of trust, courage, and hope for the entire community. People knew that when Ryan and Max were on duty, they could count on them to help in any situation. As the sun set on another long day of work, Ryan would often sit with Max on the porch outside the station. He would brush Max's fur and speak to him softly, reflecting on all they had accomplished together. Max would rest his head on Ryan's lap, eyes half closed, content and calm. Ryan knew that their bond was more than work. It was friendship, loyalty, and love. Ryan thought about the day he had first found Max in the trash. At that moment, he could never have imagined the journey they would share. Max had changed his life, and Ryan had given Max a life full of love, purpose, and adventure. Together, they had made a difference in their town, saving lives and spreading hope wherever they went. And Ryan knew that as long as they were together, many more adventures awaited them, full of courage, friendship, and new experiences. It had been several years since Ryan had rescued Max from the trash. Life had settled into a comfortable rhythm. Ryan and Max continued their work in the town, helping people, solving problems, and spreading hope. Max had grown into a strong, confident, and intelligent police dog, admired by everyone who knew him. One quiet evening, Ryan was at home reviewing paperwork when the phone rang. He was surprised. It was unusual to receive personal calls at that hour. He picked it up and said, "Hello, Officer Ryan speaking." A nervous voice spoke on the other end. "Hello, sir. My name is Lisa. I think you may know this story about a German Shepherd." Ryan listened carefully as Lisa explained that she had recently come across a photo of Max when he was a puppy. The photo showed a small German Shepherd, dirty and frightened, which reminded her of a story she had heard years ago about a police officer rescuing an abandoned puppy. Lisa hesitated, then added, "I think this puppy grew up to become your canine." "Max?" Ryan's heart skipped a beat. He felt a mix of shock, curiosity, and excitement. Could it really be possible? He remembered the frightened puppy he had rescued so many years ago, and looked over at Max, who was lying nearby, his ears twitching at the sound of Ryan's voice. Lisa explained that the story had touched her deeply. She worked at a local newspaper and had been researching abandoned animals that had later found new lives. When she saw the photo of Max, she recognized him instantly. Ryan could hardly believe it. Max had become such a remarkable dog, and yet there were people who remembered the small puppy he had once been. Curious and intrigued, Ryan asked Lisa more questions. She shared that Max had a sibling, another German Shepherd named Bella, who had been separated from him when they were both very young. Bella had been adopted by a kind family in another part of town. Lisa wondered if Max might remember her. Ryan felt a lump in his throat. He had never known about Bella, and the thought of Max having a sibling excited him. Ryan looked at Max, who tilted his head and barked softly as if sensing the importance of the conversation. Ryan stroked Max's fur and whispered, "Max, I think we are about to meet someone from your past." Max wagged his tail slowly, his eyes bright and alert. Ryan smiled, realizing that Max had already formed a strong bond with him. But this was a chance for him to connect with his past as well. After speaking with Lisa, Ryan made plans to meet her and see if they could locate Bella. The next morning, he brought Max along, carefully watching his reactions. Max was calm, yet his excitement was visible. As they drove to the meeting place, Ryan thought about how far Max had come. From a scared puppy abandoned in the trash to a brave, intelligent canine hero, Max had grown in ways Ryan could never have imagined. When they arrived, Lisa handed Ryan a picture of Bella. Max sniffed it carefully, then barked softly. Ryan could see a flicker of recognition in Max's eyes. It was as if he remembered the small puppy he had once played with. Ryan felt a surge of emotion. Max's journey had come full circle. Ryan realized that life had a way of bringing surprises when least expected. He had saved Max years ago, giving him a chance at life. Now Max's past was reaching out to him, showing Ryan that acts of kindness could have lasting effects, touching more lives than he had ever imagined. That evening, Ryan and Max returned home, but Ryan could not stop thinking about Bella. He knew the next step would be a meeting, a reunion that could bring joy and closure to Max's past. Max lay beside him, tired but alert, ready for the next adventure. Ryan whispered to him, "Max, tomorrow we may meet someone very special." Max lifted his head, looked at Ryan, and wagged his tail as if he understood. Ryan went to bed that night feeling a mixture of excitement and anticipation. He realized that Max's life had been full of surprises, and yet the best moments were still ahead. A call had changed everything, reminding him that courage, love, and loyalty could create connections that lasted a lifetime. The next morning, Ryan woke early, feeling a mix of excitement and nervousness. Today was the day Max might meet his long-lost sibling Bella. He prepared for the meeting carefully, making sure Max was calm and comfortable. Max seemed to sense the importance of the day. He sat quietly beside Ryan, his ears alert and eyes bright. They drove to the park where Bella's family had agreed to meet. The sun was shining and the park was peaceful, with birds singing and children playing nearby. Ryan held Max's leash tightly, walking slowly as they approached the meeting spot. Max's nose twitched as he sniffed the air, his body tense with anticipation. From a distance, Ryan spotted Bella. She was a German shepherd, slightly smaller than Max, with bright eyes and a shiny coat. As soon as she saw Max, she lifted her head and wagged her tail. Max froze for a moment, then his tail began to wag slowly. He walked toward Bella cautiously, sniffing the ground and glancing up at Ryan as if asking for permission. Ryan smiled and whispered, "Go ahead, Max, she's your sister." Max stepped closer, and Bella moved toward him. For a few seconds, the two dogs simply stared at each other, sniffing and circling carefully. Then Max barked softly and Bella responded with a joyful yip. They nudged each other with their noses and began to play gently, tails wagging furiously. Ryan felt a lump in his throat as he watched them. The bond between them was immediate and strong. It was as if they remembered each other from their earliest days, even though they had been separated for years. Max had always been brave and loyal, but now Ryan saw a different side of him, a softer, playful, and loving side reserved for family. Bella's family watched with smiles and laughter. They had heard about Max's journey and were thrilled to see him reunited with his sister. Bella seemed happy too, enjoying the presence of someone she had once known. Max and Bella ran together, chasing each other across the grass, rolling gently, and occasionally pausing to nuzzle. Ryan knelt nearby, petting Max and feeling a deep sense of pride and joy. After some time, Ryan and Bella's family sat on a bench, watching the dogs interact. Ryan shared Max's story again, the day he had rescued him from the trash, his training and his years of service as a K9. Bella's family listened intently, amazed at how much Max had grown and accomplished. Ryan could see that meeting Bella had brought a sense of completion to Max's life. Max eventually came to Ryan and rested his head on his lap, tired but content. Ryan stroked his fur gently and whispered, "You've come a long way, Max. From a scared puppy to a brave hero, and now you've found your sister." Max looked up at Ryan, eyes soft and trusting. Ryan knew that Max understood the love and pride he felt. The afternoon passed peacefully, with Max and Bella playing and exploring together. Ryan and Bella's family exchanged contact information, promising to arrange more meetings so the dogs could spend time together. Max had never been happier, running freely with someone who shared his past and understanding. As the sun began to set, Ryan called Max to his side. Max trotted over obediently, glancing back at Bella with a soft bark as if saying goodbye for now. Ryan smiled and said, "We'll see her again soon. Max, you've had a wonderful day." Max wagged his tail, clearly content and full of joy. On the drive home, Ryan thought about the journey he and Max had shared. From a small abandoned puppy in the trash to a brave and intelligent police dog, Max had overcome fear and hardship. Now, with Bella in his life, Max had also found a connection to his past. Ryan felt proud of the dog he had rescued and raised, knowing that every act of kindness had led to this moment of happiness. That night, Max slept peacefully at the foot of Ryan's bed, exhausted but content. Ryan watched him and whispered softly, "You've had an amazing life, Max, and it's only going to get better." Max's soft breathing and relaxed posture showed that he felt safe, loved, and proud of his journey. Ryan smiled, knowing that the bond between them and the connection with Bella would last a lifetime. Years had passed since Ryan rescued Max from the trash. The small German shepherd puppy who had once been frightened and abandoned had grown into a brave, intelligent, and loyal K9 hero. Max had served the town with courage, assisted in countless missions, and inspired the community with his loyalty and skill. Now, after reuniting with his sister Bella, Max seemed even happier, his life full of love, trust, and purpose. Ryan often thought about how much Max had changed his own life. The bond they shared was more than work. It was friendship, loyalty, and family. Max had given Ryan joy, companionship, and a sense of pride that went beyond any achievement at the police department. Every day, Ryan was reminded that small acts of kindness, like rescuing a frightened puppy, could create ripples that lasted a lifetime. One sunny afternoon, Ryan and Max were invited to a local school to speak to children about police work and the role of K-9 officers. The students crowded around Max, eager to meet the famous dog they had read about in the newspapers. Max sat obediently, his ears alert and tail wagging gently, sensing the excitement in the room. Ryan shared Max's story in simple words, explaining how he had found him abandoned in a trash pile, how they had trained together, and how Max had grown into a police hero. The children listened carefully, eyes wide with admiration. When Ryan showed pictures of Max as a small puppy next to Bella, the children gasped in surprise. They were amazed that this playful, strong, and brave dog had once been so tiny and scared. Max wagged his tail as the children petted him. Some of them whispered to Ryan that they wanted to help animals and be brave like Max one day. Ryan smiled, realizing that Max's story was inspiring more than just adults. It was teaching children about compassion, courage, and perseverance. Max had become a symbol of hope and kindness, a reminder that every life mattered and that anyone, no matter how small or frightened, could make a difference. After the event, Ryan took Max and Bella for a walk in the park. Max ran freely, chasing leaves and playing with Bella. Ryan watched them together, feeling proud and content. He knew that Max's journey from a frightened puppy in the trash to a respected K-9 hero and beloved family member was extraordinary. He had overcome fear, hardship, and challenges to become a dog who not only protected the town but also touched the hearts of many people. Even as Max grew older, his spirit never faded. He remained alert, loyal, and full of energy, always ready for the next adventure. Ryan made sure to give him plenty of love, exercise, and care, knowing that Max had earned every moment of happiness in his life. Their bond was unbreakable, built on trust, shared experiences, and deep affection. One quiet evening, Ryan sat on the porch with Max resting his head on his lap. The sun was setting, painting the sky in soft oranges and pinks, just like the day Ryan had first found him. Ryan stroked Max's fur gently and whispered, "You've had an amazing life, Max. You've done so much, and you've made a difference in so many lives." Max looked up at him, eyes calm and trusting, as if he understood every word. Ryan realized that Max's story was not just about bravery or police work. It was about love, care, and the impact one act of kindness could have on a life. By rescuing Max, Ryan had given him a chance to shine, and Max in return had given Ryan loyalty, friendship, and countless memories. Max's life was a lesson in courage, hope, and the power of compassion. As the stars began to appear in the night sky, Ryan watched Max and Bella lying side by side, resting peacefully. He smiled, knowing that they were safe, happy, and loved. Max had come so far from that day in the alley when he had been abandoned, and his journey had inspired everyone who had been lucky enough to meet him. Ryan whispered one last time, "You've done well, Max. You've lived a life worth remembering." Max closed his eyes, breathing slowly and calmly, content in the warmth of his home, the love of his family, and the knowledge that he had truly made a difference. And in that quiet moment, Ryan knew that Max's story would live on, remembered by the town, by the children he had inspired, and by everyone who believed in hope, loyalty, and love.